Hello. Oh, the countdown clock didn't realize the countdown clock. Hello and welcome to the Main Event Wrestling Network, and a brand new monthly podcast is coming, and it's now. This is the Transatlantic Pop Wrestling Podcast. This is what happens when you put a Brit and an American in a room and you see what happens. I am the Brit because I have a lovely accent, as you can tell. I am Elder Sam from Sam's on Wrestling, and I'm joined by my co-host for the rest of time. He is now stuck with me every single month. It's only Jay Gold from the NXT Night Shift. Hello, Jay.
Hello, Elder Sam. Jay Gold from the NXT Night Shift and 1/3 of the IWGuide podcast. That is the OG podcast that I've done for the last almost 5 years now. So, and that show's been on almost seven or 8 years. So it's crazy.
That is a long time. I have been going since October of 24. So I am a baby in age. I am baby in wrestling terms. But I'm here, and we've come together to see what happens when we can have a bit of an alliance between two nations. And we talk about wrestling. That's what it is.
What do they call that? The special relationship between the US and the UK.
A special relationship, which sounds so much like something that gets sold at McDonald's, doesn't it?
You have a better McDonald's there anyway.
With the special relationship.
Listen, I'm good. It's Monday morning. We're recording, people, so you get an opportunity to see us. It is 7:50 Eastern time, my time. My daughter's at school. My wife has started work, and you are in the middle of your day already. You've already had a nice full day.
It is 12:45 here. This is how busy it's been. I've already been on for a hour-long walk, and I've built an IKEA bookshelf. That's how much time I've had in the day.
That is a productive day already. Yes, my day yesterday. By this time, we already got murdered in flag football for my daughter. So we are 0-5 again, and I think next week, mercifully, we're off for Memorial Day weekend, so we don't have to worry that we're going to lose again. So. I've had enough of that. I'm ready to get back into wrestling. There wasn't a whole lot of wrestling on this weekend, except on Friday night there was a lot of indie wrestling. GCW was on. AIW did their 21st anniversary show, so I watched that. I was sick as a dog for like 4 straight days. I'm still trying to
We were meant to film this for the first time. This is episode 1, and we were meant to film this about 4 days ago.
Yeah, and I honestly, I'm still getting almost done with it, but it was, I woke up on Thursday, I'm like, oh no, and then all through Friday, Saturday, just a beaten man. It's still right here, like it still feels like somebody jabbed me in the nose and in the underneath my eyes, where I'm still feeling that congestion, but I'm ready to go. This is what you're supposed to be, a team player, and that's what I'm doing.
You are a team player. So if anyone wants to know what this podcast will be, it is a roughly monthly podcast, unless something really interesting happens and we just jump straight on and record. But roughly a monthly podcast talking about the month in wrestling mainly, as well as a main topic that we will talk about throughout. And let's be honest, one of the reasons that me and Jay are coming together is because we have a problem with tangents. We don't stay on topic.
We need somebody to let us just talk. So that's what we're going to do. We want to we need to cover a million topics. Our brains are going at 1,000,000 miles an hour. We're full of trivia. We're full of old wrestling highlights and a lot of opinions, honestly. And I think this is the best place to do it. I think today we are in the middle of I would say, Sam, a crisis in independent and internet wrestling. We are in the middle of I think a changing of the guard, watching a civilization crumble, if you will, as the internet wrestling sites and internet wrestling writers are starting to be exposed and are starting to close up shop. I mean, I never heard the term layoffs in these internet wrestling sites in my life. What do you mean? No, you guys are getting paid? We're not getting paid.
I love watching self-employed people get laid off. It's really interesting. It's firing themselves.
Hey, we're gonna move on from here. Hey, that's your choice, brother. I didn't tell you to do that. That's your choice if you guys want to leave and go do something else. But I am stunned by, and it happened fast, man. Like it all happened in like a week and a half. Body Slam was gone. Body Slam dropped a whole bunch of people. Cultaholic is dropping a whole bunch of people. Sean Ross Sapp and his crew is getting crapped on every second. People are finally getting tired of that. Meltzer's takes, even though I get scolded by friends of mine in the business who tell me, Meltzer is still a valuable take. He's getting crapped on all over the place. Tony Khan is getting crapped on all over. The internet has become, the fans are starting to become like, I don't want this anymore. I don't want fake stuff. I used to love spoilers as a kid. I read Lords of Pain every day. And now most of the stuff is all conjecture and nonsense at this point.
Well, we've got to the stage where, let's talk WWE to start with.
Yeah.
That they've changed the business model. So beforehand, because everything was political and everything was aggressive and people wanted to get a heads up and they wanted to get in some new place, they would tell Meltzer so that things would happen, so that they can play political Jenga and stuff like that. But those people have all left and moved on. So now it's all TKO people, and they've not brought anybody in that Dave knows. Let's go with Dave to start with. And let's be honest here, every person you've mentioned only uses Dave's knowledge. Cultaholic, for example, whenever they quote any news, it always has Meltzer at the bottom of it. And he doesn't know anything. He is a very smart wrestling fan. Okay, he's got one of the best historians probably ever. But generally speaking, when he says a thing, now, WWE-wise, it's a guess. It is a guess as much as me and you are guessing. He just has a decent brain and can probably work it out to a reasonable extent. But it's a guess. But everyone promotes it as if it's real. And therefore, everyone else promotes it as real. And then it just becomes Chinese whispers of wrestling. And I think that's really affected the IWC.
And I think also, here's the thing, and I don't know what the laws are as far as in the UK about it, but once you become a public company, any transactions, any monetary, financial, operational transactions have to be announced. So the days of a wrestling dirt sheet, when we called them the dirt sheets, in the late 90s, early 2000s, mid 90s, when you had wrestlers literally running off to the phone and speaking during the house show going, you never guess, dude, Dave, here's who's here. Those days are gone because this is all public information now, because if anything happens to affect the stock, you have lawsuits, you have major financial losses or major financial gains that are gained, ill-begotten gains, because you can't hide anything anymore. So a business that was based around surprises, which has always been wrestling from the 70s, 80s, 90s, early 2000s before WWE went public, that is gone. So to have companies to base your entire persona around breaking news, when breaking news is literally just the news that's going to go to the shareholders for WWE. Let's forget about AEW for a minute. For WWE and TNA, because they have a relationship, in AAA, because they'll have anybody who's under that umbrella. Those days, you can't base a business around that. That business model is not here anymore. It's gone.
Yes, everything has to be crystal and clear. You have to, anything financial has to be told to people. So let's say Dave does get the inside track. All he's doing is announcing it early. That's all he would be doing anyway, And
it's technically not even legal. You're not allowed to announce something like that early. Imagine, and they do that to here in our country. We're all over our congressman, our president. We're all over everybody when it comes to, hey, even saying something about the war in Iran changes oil prices. And if somebody buys something off of what they heard, when did they know it? So if Dave is leaking something, let's say Dave is like, WWE is going to debut X wrestler who from AEW, let's say MJF, and all of a sudden they're like, he's going to be on XYZ with this merchandise deal, XYZ. The stock can go somewhere. if he says something that's going to affect the stock, that's on him. Then you have a problem. So he can only go with what we're learning, as far as everything else. So I think what I was so frustrated about this week, and even last week, and I think Kyle, the boss man of the Main Event Network, and a lot of us are starting to realize is these sites that are Wrestle Ops and Wrestle Rumors and Wrestle Feet and everything else, they're just lying now at this point, and people are running with it. I the other day I said on the night shift, I said, how are we taking a guy with 40 followers posted that Roman Reigns rumor, the stuff about June, a guy with 40 followers on Twitter, and 3 or 4 different websites picked it up as this is what the news is, and they ran with it. That is unacceptable.
Well, we've got to the stage on X where you can post anything. As anybody, and there will be no sources. We don't need sources, or we don't need to know where it comes from. And apparently a source nowadays just have to put in brackets where you might have heard it, not a link to a place or anything like that. And
no footnotes.
Now, like the Roman Reigns one, me and you don't know. And that's our answer. We can speculate. My speculation is Roman Reigns doesn't want to go to Saudi Arabia in June, or they've decided they have too much storyline and they don't need to put him in there in June, so therefore he doesn't need to be there at Raw. Not contract related or anything like that. And guess what? We would know it's contract related because it either gets announced or the man disappears from TV. Like, it's really easy to work it out. I'm very frustrated with the way that a lot of the internet sites are going, because there's a lot of what I'm going to call now amateurs who are entering the business, who don't have any leads themselves. Not that anyone does have any leads.
Right.
And they post and promote other things just to get traffic to them or to create controversy or engagement. And I think what has fundamentally happened is we've lost what wrestling is about.
Mm-hmm.
We don't do this with anything else. There's no other media that I think gets this. To this,
I would say the closest thing to it, and it's because wrestling isn't real and wrestling is a form of entertainment. I would say it's probably the comic book movie world, and that's Comic-Con. The Comic-Con culture is the only place that this ever happens. You don't see this. No one's telling you that the cast of Downton Abbey has become, is X, Y, and Z, or they don't do that. They leak it for Marvel. They leak it for DC. They leak it for WWE and AEW. There's no Star Wars. It feels like, there is no culture besides this comic culture, this geekdom that we call it, which I love, which we are. But that world is,
you could not get more geeky.
Yeah. I mean, look, I'm wearing a Bloodsport t-shirt because I feel bad that Donald Gibb died this weekend. And I am just, this is like my stuff. Like this is the culture of it. And I think it started with the late 90s when Hall and Nash started coming in, and that's where I don't think in the 80s we never did. How many? And I look, I'm much older than you. So the 80s, when Ric Flair showed up on WWE TV and then just disappeared. when Ric Flair showed up on WWE TV with the title, and then it just stopped, or then he disappeared, and 3 weeks later I never saw Ric Flair again on WWE TV. I was like, where'd he go? And then for 3 seconds I went, oh wait, what's that other shiny object in the ring? Oh, is that, and then it was over. Now then in the 90s it was, want to know where he went? Here's where and then they launched Tough Enough, and then they launched that Behind the Ring or whatever. Remember the Masked Wrestler guy? There was a show where he would show you how to do the moves and stuff. They did that.
Yes, and the voice of the program was Salem the Cat from Sabrina the Teenage Witch.
Whoever played, so the guy was wearing a black mask, remember? And it was like Wrestling Exposed or Biggest Secrets Revealed.
Wrestling Secrets Exposed, I think it was called.
Yeah, so we started that, and then you knew that, like, because I as a kid I did ECW. I went to ECW school. Like, I learned some things, but as it started to get more access, and you started to get more access to people, this spoiler culture came about, and now it's devolved. It went so far, like the Big Bang, where they tell you that the universe expanded, that eventually it's going to come back. That's what's happening in wrestling right now.
Actually, the spoiler mill was about arrogance. It was a look what I know. It was look what I was the first one to announce. I'm the correct one. And that's what that became. And nowadays, I think people are so sick of spoilers. And I think the general public, I don't just mean wrestling fans either, like trailers now for movies are just such a joke because they give away the movie. Yep. And you're like, what? Or even change the movie. We literally had a movie. I don't know if it came out. It was like a sheep, a detective.
Oh, Sheep Detective. Yes, with Hugh Jackman. Yeah.
Yes, great movie. I actually really enjoyed that movie.
I haven't seen it. I'm going to see it. I haven't seen it yet. But it's out here though this week.
It seemed like it's the funniest movie in the world, and I would argue it's slightly heartbreaking.
Well, I kind of thought as much when they told you that Hugh Jackman was dead 3 seconds into the trailer, and you're like, "Oh, come on."
Oh, there's so many shots to the heart in this movie. It's a good movie, but I'm watching it going, I was expecting a little bit more lightheartedness than I got. And that's the problem I find with wrestling. I don't want to be going in knowing the result. And I think the war between WWE and WCW with the fact they are pre-recorded, I think that didn't help.
Right.
Because obviously then they were announcing things that were happening. And then obviously now it's not pre-recorded, but we know what could happen because we've got the script. Why have you got the script? Because someone was not being a good person.
Yeah.
Not looking after themselves. Or, no, they were looking after themselves, not looking after the business or looking after their company. People don't do that now in WWE. So it doesn't work anymore. And I also don't want it to be spoiled.
Yeah, I mean, look, I don't want it to be spoiled either. However, I don't know if you felt the same way, but the one thing I was dying for, and it happened, was when Daniel Bryan won the title at WrestleMania. Yeah. All I wanted, and this is as just maybe I'm a little different than I like these shared like crazy experiences. I wanted to see 75,000 people doing this more than anything. And when I finally got that, it was the most, even though I kind of knew he was going to win, even I had in my thoughts, maybe they'd screw him because that's the company it is.
Evolution, triple threat, WrestleMania 30.
It was still there. It was like, you're going to kill my whole vibe, right? I know you are. So, I'm trying not to, but even down to seeing 75,000 fans at the Superdome giving you the yes, I miss like that. Like before we know, the world had more, the wrestling world had more of that build. Like now you get to a certain spot and they cut it.
Had the streak broken. No one knew that was coming because you saw the reaction. No one knew that was coming. And that's what wrestling should be. I'll even throw it out there that I shouldn't be thinking about the show either. I shouldn't be sat there going, why are they doing this? What are they doing that for? And I think that's filtered into internet wrestling community as well. Not only are we like, now I want to know what's happening and I want to know the spoilers and all that lot. It's now an element of what should happen. And I think that's what killed Star Wars, to be honest, because everybody kind of predicted or even fantasy booked what a Star Wars movie should be. And then when it wasn't that, irregardless if it was good or bad, you are going to be disappointed because it's not the thing you predicted. However, if it then is the thing you predicted, you then go, wow, look how predictable that was. Right. That's where we are when I follow the internet wrestling community.
Yeah.
You made yourself unhappy because you're predicting stuff, saying it's predictable, or predicting stuff, and it doesn't happen going, well, my idea was better.
Well, that's why I love what we do, like on the Main Event Network in general, like when Kyle first pitched to us when we were Indie Wrestling Guide, like, I don't think it's my job, and it's not a job. This is a hobby. I love this more than anything, like just to talk wrestling. But I don't think it's my place. And we watch so much indie wrestling, me and Jayhawk, before Butters jumped back in. But with Butters, we used to do shows every week from all over. We would do shows from Japan. We would do shows, from out of nowhere, like in Italy. And we just sat there and we commented on it, good or bad, and that was it. It's not my place to ask why you did that. It's just more of as a fan to go, hey, like when you watch a movie afterwards, you're like, you talk about it with your friends in the car on the way home. That's kind of how I like to talk about, wrestling.
You're allowed to criticize wrestling.
Yeah.
It is fine. It is actually okay. But there's a difference between saying, I didn't like how they did this, or this is wrong because they did this.
Right.
One of the biggest things that me and Baby Sam talk about on Sam's on Wrestling is wrestling is subjective. It could not be more a subjective art form. There is literally no right answers. So, for example, let's take Darby Allin's world title reign. Okay, he's defending it week in, week out against mediocre talent, mid-card talent, or whatever talent. And everyone's like, oh, he's devaluing the talent. And I'm like, my brain goes, why can't we just do that every week? What's wrong with it? What rules tell you that you're not allowed to do that? And then they go, oh, it's lowering the prestige of the title. Why? Because you've decided it's lowering the prestige of the title, sort of thing. And there's like, my only complaint is from a, let's say, go kayfabe standpoint. If Darby Allin is posting open challenges, why aren't the main eventers, the top guys, going, can I have a go? Like,
right. I'm standing right here in the back. Why can't I come out? Yeah, I agree.
Like, you're telling me Omega, who nearly killed himself like 3 years ago for that world title, and, you know, all these people. Ospreay never had a world title. And they're not sat there going, maybe I could beat Allen. I reckon I could take him down.
Okay, but then I'll play devil's advocate. Here's why people say that. Here's why. In the real world, right, in real fighting, boxing, okay, Roy Jones, one of the best fighters of all time. Roy Jones fought a janitor. He fought an off-duty police officer at one point. And I'm not saying like that was their jobs coming in, but they used to do those things. And he murdered them in the ring. You know, you saw guys who would fight Floyd Mayweather who had no business being in the ring. Now, when you're a boxing fan and you watch it, even back in the day, the boxing fans wanted big fights. Yeah. And when they got a small crummy fight and they went, this dude is never going to fight the guy I want to fight, that's why boxing is where it is. People don't get to see it. So wrestling
is exactly the conversation it should be.
Right.
Not this is wrong. It should be, I'm not enjoying this world title reign because I want to see this. And that's what I'm saying. It's not wrong. That's the point I'm making. It's not wrong. Okay? Because there is no wrong. The only way you can say something is wrong is if it ends up cancelling your TV show. Like, WCW in 2000 got a lot wrong.
They got,
led to them to lose millions and millions, which led to them to being a liability on AOL, which wanted to get rid of them anyway.
And R.I.P. Ted Turner, who passed away this week. And he
do a little section that I was going to do. If you've interrupted that, we'll come back to that, which I thought was an in memoriam section. I thought if we're going to do a month in wrestling, we're not going to go into every single person, but you've already brought up the person from your shirt from Bloodsport. Would you like to talk about them for a quick second?
Donald Gibb was was Ray Jackson in Bloodsport. He was Ogre in Revenge of the Nerds. He was. Donald Gibb was, and my friend is a big collector, and he met Donald Gibb a few times and said he was one of the nicest human beings to meet at the conventions and whatnot. So myself, Stacy Silvers, who does the Super Fantastic podcast, and Charlie Butters, my co-host, we are gigantic Bloodsport fans. We send each other Bloodsport videos every chance we get. I must have seen that movie about 15,000 times, I would say, and I watch it even now. I have actually behind me, and I could get it, is the Bloodsport soundtrack on vinyl. And that was one of the things I wanted to get signed by Donald Gibb, because he always does conventions around. I never got the chance. But yeah, that was this week, about 4 days ago. And then the one of the godfather of WCW, Ted Turner, and Georgia Championship Wrestling, Ted Turner.
If AOL hadn't come in and Ted Turner didn't do that deal, who knows where that would come, because obviously the .com bubble also came.
One of the worst deals ever in entertainment. Destroyed the industry, and you're still feeling it now.
Yeah, we haven't. You guys, we're fine, but you guys haven't recovered from that. And Ted Turner, I think, did a story where he said if like those AOL guys, if I still was running it, WCW would still be on TV. And do you know what? I don't know how long it would have much lasted, because it was bleeding money, and even from a fan of wrestling. But without Ted Turner, I don't think wrestling is where it is now.
No,
really. There's a few people that I think. A lot of people go, oh, Hulk Hogan is the reason for this and that. I don't think you can say it's one person, but I think there are multiple people at multiple different times who have caused such a thing to happen for wrestling to be in the position it is now. And I think people forget that it will go up and down as well. Like, I'm not going to say Ted Turner is because of WWE now, because WWE went really bad in 2019 and was going horribly, horribly wrong.
Yeah.
like that. But what it did is it reinvigorated the industry to another level in the same way Hogan reinvigorated the industry.
Think of it this way, by the way. Vince McMahon was a force of nature, right?
Cool.
So he was a force of nature. The 80s was owned by Vince McMahon and his cartoon entertainment, wrestling, action figures, video games, everything that you could slap to promote your talent in a televised media world. Vince McMahon was a titan. However, to defeat a titan, you need another titan, and you need somebody who's going to be able to compete. And there wasn't anybody.
Tell us this.
What'd you say?
Ancient Greece tells us this.
and there wasn't anybody who was willing to step up after Vince decimated the indies, the territories, and all those guys were left like, what the hell just happened? Like, because they got raided and they had no answer, right? And then you get a guy like Ted Turner who liked wrestling, but didn't like, he called wrestling. He liked wrestling and just wanted to see what would happen and said, I have all this money. And you know what? I don't like what this guy's doing up north. And I'm going to try something down south and we're going to go. And I have a TV channel.
Tony Khan,
but without the television channel, because if it wasn't for the TBS Superstation that Ted Turner owned, and he was able to try everything, Thunder, Saturday night, WCW Worldwide, WCW, Nitro, put it on Monday nights, put it whenever. If it wasn't for that man, the Monday Night Wars never happened. Hogan never leaves WWF. And who knows how badly
WWF in 1995. I mean, what they were doing was just bottoming out. I don't think people really realized how bad WWF had got to in 1995. I don't know if they would have bottomed out, but you never know. Without that reinvigoration, without them having ECW, you could throw that in there as well, because essentially just copying their model, but in a lighter tone.
Yeah,
you never really know.
Well, ECW also, because Paul Heyman was working, he worked WWF and worked WCW beforehand.
There's so many branches to this. And you know what? I'll throw out another in memoriam that's happened actually this month, very closely related to this. Barry Blaustein. From Beyond the Mat. Documentary Beyond the Mat. I mean, how important that documentary actually ended up being in the culture of wrestling.
Incredible documentary. And another one where also just adding to the culture of now we know too much, burden of knowledge. We saw that and everyone went, hey, I want to try this. I want to do all this. I have,
It opened the floodgates, didn't it?
Wrestler autobiographies.
Mick
Foley's book, The Rock's book.
Well. So, but I do have one more in memoriam as well, but we're in WCW still. So Van Hammer has passed away this month. The only story I have of Van Hammer, and I think it's Van Hammer, I will admit, because obviously I wasn't watching at the time, is when they joined and become the Misfits in Action, and they all had their gimmick names, Private Loco and all that lot. I think he was meant to be Private Stash, which is the joke, he's hiding a stash. But he complained that his rank was lower than other people called lieutenant and stuff.
That's right. He was Major Stash. He became Major Stash. And
became Major Stash instead of Private Stash, which doesn't really make sense. So that's what I know of Van Hammer. So
listen, I remember when he debuted with the whole gimmick, the whole headbanging thing, and I never, as a kid, I was always in on. I knew who I liked. The Steiners were my guys. I'll say it forever. The Steiners are Road Warriors. Those were my guys. The Four Horsemen. When Van Hammer came out, my dad used to call them scrubs. That was his thing. He would say, this guy's just going to get beat because he's just another scrub in there. And we would always say it's a scrub match. And now you say, enhancement talent or jobbers because we know too much. But my dad was always like, this is a scrub match. There was a guy, Rusty Brooks, and Nelson Valou, who used to get beat up by King Kong Bundy and Hulk Hogan. Rusty Brooks lost to Hulk Hogan.
That I would make for a buffet.
Dude, Rusty Brooks, and I have the picture. I'm making a T-shirt actually because it was my dad's favorite jobber. He got beat up on a Saturday morning in 1987 by Hulk Hogan on their Superstar show. And those scrubs and Van Hammer to me always in the beginning was just you're never going to, I knew in my head, even at a young age, even at 10, 11 years old, I was like, this guy's never winning the world title. He's cool looking, but Van Hammer was fun just to have out there on occasion on WCW Worldwide or WCW Saturday night between 6 and 7 at night. When I was a kid, before I went out on a Saturday night and I could pop on WCW, there was Van Hammer always coming out with that spinning ring because they were on the soundstage and everything else.
Oh yes, so in Disneyland, was it Universal?
Yes,
wasn't
they were always on the soundstage at Disney. It was Disney, yes, at Disney, and
the MGM Grand, wasn't it? No, that's wrong.
No, it was the soundstage at Disney. I have to figure that out.
Oh,
you know what? That's what let's see, soundstage for show. I can find that out because we are on. So WCW was on the soundstage at Universal Studios Florida in Orlando. In Orlando, Universal Studios, between 1996 and 1998. Yeah.
Do you know what? I think you touched on what I think should be probably the next topic of conversation. Yeah. First of all, thank you to all those people for everything they did in the industry, and we will always do a little section if we do a little month if anyone has asked. But you just described something which is fun. And one of the big things that I've discovered this month is that I'm not sure that wrestling fans like fun anymore.
You're not wrong.
Because I think Danhausen has completely proven that they don't understand fun. Because there's the people who are actually enjoying it because they watch wrestling in the right way. And there are people who I think are so critical of it and they've turned it into a sport. I don't want wrestling to be a sport. If I want it to be a sport, I'll go and watch the sport. And you literally said that magic sentence. I knew he wasn't going to win the world title. And that's the key. We've lost in WWE in particular a hierarchical system.
Yep.
We've lost this. The idea that these people are going to come out to entertain you. Win, lose, or draw. We're not going to elevate them up the card. It doesn't matter if they're massively over because they're over in their certain spot. This is why when people say Danhausen would work in the Attitude Era, they are right in my eyes because the Attitude Era was silly. And think of all the gimmicks in that mid card. Godfather was a pimp. Val Venus was an adult star. Gangrel was a vampire. I mean, you could keep going.
Well, okay. Look, Sam, I'm going to take full blame for this because I am Gen X going into millennial. I'm going to be 48 in a week and a half. Here's the deal. It's our fault. Okay? Because here's the thing. When I was in college in the 90s and I was watching ECW, okay, I was more than happy and excited and giddy when Al Snow came out with Head. Okay.
I was about to mention a man whose sole gimmick is based on one
mannequin head. Now, I was more than excited when Blue Mean came out. I was more than excited to believe that Danny Doring and the Amish Roadkill, the Amish chicken plucker, whatever he called himself, was there. I was more than happy with Disco Inferno. I'm not going to lie. When he came out, I was giggling and being like, look at this idiot. And it was great. I don't know. And I fully blame the late 90s crowd, the kids who became adults for sucking the fun out of what wrestling is. It went from, if you were willing to laugh at Al Snow's head joke every week and the Job Squad and Godfather, and now when WWE puts out or even AEW has MJF and Jericho singing. WWE's got Danhausen with his little people. Kit Wilson, The Miz always getting beat up. Now, just to get a little bit in a tangent real quick, the Duke is an AI.
We were talking about.
Yes.
Well, so the Transatlantic Pop could be renamed the Tangent-Atlantic Pop.
Oh, I like that. So the Duke in AIW. The Duke has been in AIW as their villain for 20 years. Duke's been around forever. Duke is one of the nicest guys. I love him. However, he will never win a title. He knows it. He carries around this gold boot that he said he won, and he only defends it in like Uganda or whatever. It's hilarious. But what he says is he loves being the guy, okay, who when they bring a special guest in, he's gotten, and I have pictures of him on my wall getting beat up by Terry Funk. He got hit with a garbage bag, and they put it over his head. He got beat up by Road Dogg this weekend at AIW. He gets beat up by every star that the $1 Million Man put him in this, the $1 Million sleep, the sleeper. Yeah. he says he would rather do those things and make that part and be able to say that he's done that. And I have this feeling that my generation forgot, like the ones who were cheering in 1997, 98 for General Erection and for, all those gimmicks, that we got too cool for the room. And now we're the ones who are, and I don't do this because I watch it through the eyes of my daughter, who gets really excited, who boos Leo Sparrow for throwing kale at people when we go to shows and things like that. I think we forgot why we were doing it, and we've turned it into this. You're 100% right. Have sucked the fun out of what professional. It's not real. Why are we so angry all the time?
So
You're
angry.
right. You're right.
I think that there's a few stepping stones here that I think have caused the fun to go. In ring, I think one is the NWO. I think really did a number by making heels cool.
Yep.
And if you're now not booing the heel, the whole white hat, black hat thing just falls down a hole. And I think WWE in the last, I don't know, maybe 15 years, every heel has to be cool. They don't want to be booed. There's a reason Baron Corbin did so well. I think Baron Corbin, he's a nice bloke, by the way. I've chatted him every now and then on Twitter. He's actually a nice bloke. But I don't rate him in any way, shape, or form as an in-ring talent. But he never at any point tried to get cheered. He was solely there to be booed and get booed. And there's a reason he was an upper mid-card heel for so long, because he was an actual heel, someone you could hate.
Right.
And it doesn't matter if he had a gimmick or not. It was the idea that you could hate him. And fun can come through fun gimmicks, but it also can be having fun with the show. So I'll give you an example. The Royal Rumble 2026. Tangent again. There you go. Tangent for tangent. I'm matching you. Tangent for tangent strides. That was a heavily complained at show. Heavily complained about show online. Generally, I'm not sure why. I thought, I think people have too high an expectation as well. I think sometimes for Royal Rumble and WrestleMania, it will never reach
Royal Rumble especially.
Yeah, and one day we will do a Royal Rumble one, maybe a bit closer. But I have so many complaints about the Royal Rumble; it is unreal, and it has nothing to do with the Royal Rumble.
Right. Okay.
But it's usually to do with the fans. But which then affects the Rumble. But anyway. And me and Baby Sam watched it with a couple of his mates who are actually wrestling fans. One was an actual wrestler, and one is just a really good wrestling fan. And we watched it at this flat, but this flat had loads of other people who lived in this flat, so lots of girls in particular. And they went, "Oh yeah, we'll watch it. You're having a big, it's going to finish at 2:00 in the morning or whatever it was, 1:00. Come on, let's go watch it." So in this room, we've got 10 people, and I would argue 4 are wrestling fans, 1 is a distant wrestling fan, and 5 who have never seen a second. And I have never had more fun in my life watching wrestling, because we just threw out the pretense of we know better. So, for example, when Kiana James came out, we all knew Kiana James wasn't winning the Women's Royal Rumble, but she became our favorite. We were supporting her left, right, and center. We all knew, but we didn't know. And it's amazing what happens when you let go and just enjoy what's in front of you and not take it so seriously, and not, having to predict what's going to happen or what should happen or why that should happen. And that person needs to be look strong, and that person's looking like a jobber, and all this rubbish and nonsense. And that's what leads me back to Danhausen. If that Danhausen had turned up that night, I'm pretty certain that would have been the thing that everyone would have been talking about in that room of people, would have been Danhausen. Because it used to be fun. And that's what I mean by the hierarchical system. Because, and we're now going all the way back around to what you were saying about your generation, and I said NWO being cool. But because wrestling has been kind of about flippy and athleticism now for probably about, what, a decade?
Yeah, I'd say 10 years. Yeah, 10 years, at least since the indies started getting hot again. Sure.
Yeah. Think about all the young people who are getting into wrestling now, and I mean actual wrestlers. That's what they watched.
Yeah.
That was the thing that they aspired. They were watching Ricochet and Will Ospreay and people like that. They're not us anymore. They're not watching Gangrel. They're not watching Demolition and all these people who had a weird gimmick or an identity. They're watching people who've been doing incredible athletic moves.
Yeah, the kids that we interview on the Indie Wrestling Guide, we do a lot of these, fresh meat interviews and guys who are like 3-4 years in the business. the first thing a lot of the guys who are in their mid-20s tell us that they watched TNA with Petey Williams, AJ Styles, Samoa Joe, Chris Daniels. So their style is more, an end of the line Jeff Hardy and things like that. They were not there, and the ones who do watch the old wrestling, who go back to watch, let's say, Steamboat and Savage or Steamboat and Flair, or an Arn Anderson match. Those are the guys who understand that you don't have to leave your feet every 5 seconds. Really but don't. The guys who grew up just with Petey Williams and Chris Sabin and those guys, those are the ones in their minds. That's the style they want to copy. When I was a kid, I wanted to copy Hawk and Animal. All I wanted to do was throw clotheslines and see if I could get a big boot or something, like that was it. You know what I mean? Like, I didn't think in my mind, I'm going to flip off the top rope.
You watch so much wrestling from like the 90s and even the 80s, and you listen to the sound of the pop and they've not taken a bump.
Right.
They've not a bump at all. Like,
right.
Take someone like, I don't know, the Honky Tonk Man. He never took a bump, and yet you would know he was in the room. He'd know he did a thing. And this is the thing, this is what happens when I think I blame a lot of WWE's agents as well. I think for getting little moments that get such huge heat. Like, I thought the best thing in the entire of WrestleMania this year was CM Punk and Roman Reigns doing that kind of pin exchange and submission exchange, just wrestling. The crowd are going mad. No one's taking a bump. They're lying on the floor doing this. Everyone's safe. Everyone's happy. There's no 750 flippity doodahs going on there, which is great. Pull it out. You'll get a big pop when you do it once, sort of thing. Undertaker. How often did you see Undertaker do his Undertaker dive?
Yeah, it had to be for the big moments. Yeah, it had to be for the big moments only. Yeah.
Compare that to Mike Awesome, who was doing it 90 seconds into every match he had.
But that was a specialty that you expected from one match. It was like it's like you didn't going, I want it, because ECW had it right. Even the Luchadors, no one else did what Ray and let's say Malenko or Ray and Eddie did that night. That was it. No one else did it that night. Who else did what Sabu and RVD were doing that night? Nobody. So the problem is, you go to an indie show now, and I'm not knocking it because the ghouls are a different form of human being, the deathmatch ghouls who watch it. Mm-hmm. I went to a deathmatch show, and I brought my daughter, and she is a soldier. She'll go to anything, right? And after like the third deathmatch, she looked at me, and I felt the same way. She was like, I can't watch any more of these. Like, honestly, it was like, how many more times do I... Like, we've lost the you're right. We've lost that, like when things, that type of stuff meant, and this is just an old man screaming at the clouds at this point, but I'm just saying why I think this all comes back to why we're just bringing up how the internet wrestling community is what it is now. But if you look at the younger kids, they love it, and they love Danhausen, and that's why he's the number one seller, and they love, they don't care what the matches do.
Has he got up to number 2 now? Has he?
Yeah, he's right there. I mean, he's the man.
Lou was 3 over WrestleMania weekend, and got himself to number 3 because number 1 and 2 are Cody and Punk.
Yeah. My thing, by the way, should be Danhausen creating like number 1 in the company. That's the other thing. Why do we need to know how much merch they sell? We don't.
Why do I need to know any of it?
We don't. But like, here's my thing I was thinking about, by the way, and you could tell me, here's another tangent. Imagine if Danhausen and his box
we need a tangent button, don't we?
We need something that says we're going somewhere else. Imagine if Danhausen's box, his clone, is how WWE keeps bringing back wrestlers that they let go. So like,
I would love that.
He opens the box and like, because he's trying to create a better Danhausen, and it's Baron Corbin. He opens the box, he's trying to create a better Danhausen, and it's, let's say, Killer Cross, and they come out and they're like, wouldn't that be amazing if that's how they introduce everyone? Funny. Yeah, because Danhausen can't figure out how to get a clone of himself, and he keeps bringing back other wrestlers. I think that would be amazing.
But we're just naming something fun, because this is the thing, that you can do something a bit out there and a bit fun, and it not work. And guess what you can do? Just not do it next week. It's literally fine. I think a lot of people, let's talk about WWE with fun, and they talk about, well, where's the risks? Let's go with the word risk. And I think people forget that you only take risks when you need to take a risk.
Right.
And like, why would you take a risk when you're on top? You don't. they're making so much money, yada, 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 all that, pay-per-view numbers, whatever. Why would you do something that could get you into trouble or could drop things down and stuff like that? So I don't like the risk-taking thing. It's just, why can't you do any fun storylines? Go back to the Attitude Era again. The reason Attitude Era was great, apart from that hierarchical, is they just did things.
Yeah.
They destroyed cars. They ran over things with monster trucks. They did weird and wacky things. They flew. They threw things at a wall and went, right, what will work this week? And they just tried things. And I know they had to beat WCW and all that lot, but at the end of the day, you could still do that now. That's not a risk. Right. Braun Strowman tipping over trucks and pulling down Titantrons with a grappling hook is the best thing I've seen.
The way he beat up Roman Reigns for weeks those were some of the. I had to, after a few weeks of it, I stepped back and went, "This is really good." Like, remember when he just threw a chair, like the desk chair at Roman Reigns, and then he tipped over something on him, and like every week he was doing some kind of and then that was it. But like, that was fun. Brock Lesnar, my daughter still remembers Brock lifting the ring up with the backhoe when he drove into
that was amazing.
She does not forget it. Yeah, she does not forget. I showed her the video because she was like, "Can you?" I was like watching some highlight, and she's like, "That's the craziest thing I've ever seen." And like, it's not a risk. It's cool. Just do it. Try it out. See what happens. Like, but you know how you take risks? You have to lose, and you have to see, and that's on us. If the fans don't turn on it and turn it off, I mean, not turn on it. If the fans don't turn it off, there's not going to be a risk taken because there's no reason you're still watching. So,
exactly. Maybe there might be some risk coming with the fact that the ticket sales are definitely depleting and stuff like that.
They're so expensive, man. You're in the UK. I'm telling you, the Madison Square Garden, I can never go to another WWE show. They're so expensive.
You say that you name that, but in the UK, when we get WWE turn up, our house shows are in the £100 for a house show.
Ours too.
I think for Clash in Glasgow, I think for a nosebleed seat. Now I can't remember. You might have got SmackDown with this, so I will preface this. You might have got SmackDown with this as well. It was like £350. So we're talking like, I don't know, $400.
That's crazy.
Or something.
That's crazy.
That was for a nosebleed, and they sold. So, like, I will point out, I'm going to All In at Wembley. I've been both times. I'm going to go again. I went to Double or Nothing, not Double or Nothing. I went to Forbidden Door, and I went to the Christmas episodes of they did for Dynamite and Collision, which was a long night. I'll tell you that for a fact. Watching both
I've been at those tapings, and we left. I was there. We got there at 7, and by 11:30, the ROH still wasn't done, and we had to leave. So I get it.
It killed Baby Sam. Like, he turned to me and went, "I don't want to go AWA," and I went, "Just go to All In, go to Wembley. That's different. Go to Wembley." But he was done because he didn't enjoy Forbidden Door either, because I thought that was hard work. I think if you took away the fans and put a boring crowd in, it's a rubbish show. But and all in all, so that's 2 Wembleys. Let's throw a third Wembley because I've already bought the ticket. A Forbidden Door and a normal episode of Dynamite. I haven't spent more than £160 for a ticket so far. This overall, that's all 5. And that's
AEW is way better.
Granted, as much as they can with WWE, so they have to charge lower. But even still, that is a good price.
It is. It's AEW. I've taken my daughter. We've been to Forbidden Door. We've been to at Worlds Collide. We went to a Dynamite taping, and all at the UBS Center. Now, for those who don't live in New York, and UBS is a similar arena that the Madison Square Garden. It's on Long Island. It is where the New York Islanders play hockey. It is the same setup, 15,000, whatever, 16,000. It's very close to my house, about 10 minutes, 15 minutes by car. I was able to go and sit in decent seats for AEW for, under $110 a ticket. And I was able to go to several shows. And one time we sat on the floor for that Stephanie Vaquer Mercedes match. That was one of my favorite matches I've ever seen, women's matches. And and the tickets were so reasonable. And to switch it up, I bought a $40 ticket for Madison Square Garden for the WWE Christmas show 4 years ago, and I took my daughter 3 years ago. $40, second to last row. Same seats the next year, $170 a seat. There is zero. I am not able to go to the Garden for wrestling anymore.
Well, they've priced
Can't
you
do
out. It's sadly it's an influencer's ticket. Baby Sam has been talking about this for about 18 months at this point.
Aren't we influencers, Sam? Aren't we?
No, we're not big enough.
No, we don't influence anybody. Apparently, that's it.
I tried to get in the what are they called?
Credentials, right? The media credentials.
Yeah, I'm trying to get media. He won't let me. He won't let me in. You'd think my 4,000 odd, followers and subscribers would be enough, but no.
They just approved the Indie Wrestling Guide. WWE approved us to talk to Sam Holloway in a few weeks, which I shouldn't spoil, but this will come out next week. We got him the week coming up after this show airs.
Fantastic.
They approved us. Go figure. WWE approved us. We have 100 followers on YouTube.
Shall we talk about, as this is our month in retrospective, what's been going on in the world of Raw, SmackDown, and NXT? Shall we just quickly go over what our thoughts and feelings on since WrestleMania?
I want to say this because I do the NXT night shift. Anybody who crapped on NXT the last 2 weeks, who've been crapping on Mason Rook, fuck you, because dude is great.
Hang on. I'm going to ruin you. I'm going to annoy you now because I have a gimmick. Our first proper gimmick of the day. Okay. And I've not told Jay Gold this gimmick, and I'm putting him under complete pressure, complete stress. Because as Jay Gold and maybe some people know, I don't watch NXT. I haven't got the time, patience, or the botheriness. So, Jay Gold, you have 2 minutes on the clock to tell me what has happened in NXT in the last month. 2 minutes on the clock. I'll put a little timer on.
Yeah, let's go.
The time starts now.
Okay. For anybody who doesn't watch NXT, who does watch SmackDown and Raw, the NXT's main event scene has been gutted. It went from Obafemi, Javon Evans, Trick Williams, Ethan Page, Ricky Saints. They have all been called up to the main roster. They are all gone. Those were your main event scene on the men's side. They have been replaced as far as who is going up next with Tony D'Angelo, Dion Lennox, Mason Rook, who everyone knows as Will Cruz in the UK. This kid, Cal Nixon, I forgot his name, but Kyle would tell you. The main event scene has been revamped around Tony D'Angelo, who is now the NXT champion. Will Cruz has debuted. Will Cruz is a larger gentleman who moves around like a cruiserweight. He's super fun to watch. I think I thought the men's heavyweight scene was going to be a mess. They have restocked it. Their middle titles, the NXT's North American scene, Miles Bourne is still in there. However, he's still the champ. However, they do have several guys who are going to be in that scene who I feel, even at Tavion Heights, certain guys who are going to be in that scene, and Evil is up, was just signed. So he is now in the main event scene. So NXT men's division, which I thought was gutted, is in a lot better shape. And I refuse to let some of the idiots online tell me that was a bad show. Second, the women's division, the women's heavyweight division has been gutted as well. Fatal Influence, JC Jane, Fallon Henley, and Laney Reed, they are up on SmackDown. They have been replaced. Kalani Jordan, and Jordan Grace, all of them went up. Stephanie. So now you have Kalani Jordan, you have Lola Vice, who is now the women's champion. You have Kendall Gray, who is absolutely going to be a mega star. She is going to be the world champ eventually. That has all been changed. And if you haven't watched NXT, watch it, because it has all been restocked.
That's your NXT round.
There you go.
At least you could be prepared for it next time.
I will. Honestly, I have to say, though, I hate the negative, and we've talked about it. So the negativity ruined because they said, oh, NXT did only 500,000 viewers. It's on the CW. For anybody in the UK who doesn't know what it is, the CW is like My Channel 11, which is nothing. It's like they show Live Golf. If anybody in the UK likes Live Golf,
they won't soon.
There you go. They show Live Golf on the CW. They have Nonsense Sports. They have Seinfeld reruns and the Honeymooners at midnight. That's all you need to know about the CW. There was a Knicks playoff game. There was a ton of stuff on the night that NXT was on. Of course the ratings are going to hit. And who cares? Why do you care so much?
I'll say two things to that. First thing, guess where NXT plays in this country?
Where? Nowhere?
Netflix.
Oh, Netflix. Lucky though. That's fun.
It's on Netflix has everything.
That's
like
great.
The only thing that Netflix doesn't have in this country, WWE wise, is Saturday night's main event, and that's on YouTube for free. That's
we Netflix here. We get charged like $30 a month, and I get nothing. I still get commercials and garbage, and I hate Netflix. So,
do you know how much I pay for Netflix to watch Raw, SmackDown, every other pay-per-view?
What, £16? £5. That's it, a month.
I pay £5 for Netflix.
How do they justify that?
I don't know. So what's that? What, $7, $8, something like that?
We pay. They just raised mine to like $27 a month, and I don't get any of that.
Raise at some point, but I think I'm on like $5.99. I think something like that. I think, and obviously that's the lowest tier, so we get adverts.
Mine too. 26, the lowest.
Yeah. So literally, I don't know what's. You guys are getting absolutely shafted with how much you've got to buy. Like, you got to get ESPN to watch pay-per-views. No, Netflix for me. It makes no sense.
No sense.
I'm pretty certain that Netflix want what they have in the UK in America. I'm pretty certain that's actually what they would rather have, is have it all on there. They
bludgeon us to death with streaming services in this country.
I'd like to see what happens when the contract for the USA Network finishes. If
they'll just keep it up. USA loves WWE. They always have, you know.
That's a very low price that Netflix might even bump up the price. And the second thing that you were saying about was the ratings. Ratings is just such a waste of time to look at in 2026 for multiple reasons. One, who's watching? I haven't watched wrestling live consecutively in 2 decades because I live in a different country. But like most people I know are watching Raw and SmackDown the next day anyway, or Sam, even if they are in America, they're not necessarily watching live.
I'm telling you, I have to keep apologizing. It's us. It's my generation of wrestling fans who still hang on to ratings and the Monday Night Wars and wars between companies like it means something. They all own each other. It's irrelevant. The ratings haven't meant anything since 1999. And then once WCW went out of business, the ratings were irrelevant. Whoever's watching wrestling is going to watch wrestling. Companies that are going to pay for wrestling are going to pay for wrestling. Wrestling's never leaving, by the way. It's never going anywhere.
That matters from a money spinning thing is there more than one company willing to put it on their show type thing. So like when Raw got the USA Network, I think they gave them like 400,000 or something like that per year or something daft like that. I can't remember what it was, 400 million. I can't remember what it was.
Yeah.
And like, and that's only because no one else bid for it. Just no one else bidded for it. So that's why Netflix was such a big thing, because other companies at the time.
But there are plenty of places who are going to pay for wrestling. TNA got a wrestling deal. NWA got a wrestling deal. AEW has a wrestling deal. WWE's got a wrestling deal. Women of WoW has a wrestling deal at midnight there's no more conversation about ratings. It's irrelevant. Nobody watches TV normally anyway, Sam. Nobody cares.
This is what I'm talking about. Like, I don't unless it's a live sport, because obviously you get it ruined, and that's one of the reasons I try to watch wrestling a little bit quickly as I can, so nothing gets ruined for me. Most things I watch the next day. Like, there's a really famous show in this country that they do have in America called Traitors. Your version is a reality TV stars.
Yeah, everything we have sucks. Yeah.
We have normal people do it, which is way more entertaining. But we actually did a celebrity version, right? And unlike America, we have reality stuff. We had some of the greatest celebrities in this country on it. Like, they were like Stephen Fry, who you will probably know of. You know, we're talking big guns.
Yeah.
Olympic gold medalist Tom Daly, you know, really big people. And it was watched by tens of millions of people. That you had to watch live because everybody was watching it. Wrestling hasn't been that for a long
event television. Yes.
Time. It hasn't been an event. Even WrestleMania, I wouldn't even put as an event for probably maybe, I don't know, when was the last time you would say wrestling was an event? 28, maybe.
Yeah. Sam, I will tell you that I used to tell my girlfriend in college that I could not go out if there was a Bill Goldberg match on a Monday night in the 90s. I cannot go out until Nitro is over. And I was switching back and forth. There is nowhere that I would ever say to my wife, we can't go out because wrestling's on anymore. There's just, it's just the way it is. But I still love it. And I had this conversation during COVID with John Thorne at AIW and a bunch of guys, because my brother and I helped produce their no fan show inside of this building. And I would say to people, and that was the only thing that was on that was alive, and it never went anywhere. And I always tell people, yes, we may complain about it, but in the end, no, any wrestling is good wrestling to me. I don't care how bad it is. Bad wrestling's always good. Wrestling is always good because it's always there. It feels like a warm hug. You never have to worry about it not being on. You can always talk about it. However, there's nothing wrong with guys like us coming on and saying, let's fix this as far as the negativity and make it a little more fun, because our kids want to have, my daughter's she just wants to watch it. She likes it. Like, are you going to tell her that she's wrong? Like, what's wrong with you?
Well, this is what the majority, I think, of IWC and us as well, people who actually go online and we do it, and we try and do it as either a hobby or a job or whatever, is the majority of people who are wrestling fans don't come to this. And the ones who do go to it, they're watching top 10 videos and things like that. You know, if the ones who are kind of sort of coming online to watch wrestling related content. But in terms of the critique stuff, in terms of online, in terms of Twitter, that makes up 1%, 2% of wrestling fans, and they're such a minority. So I've heard NXT's actually been pretty good. I've actually seen a lot of this. What's his name? The big guy. Something I've forgotten his name. Mason Rook. I've seen a bit of him. I think there's already been an overhype and there's already been a negativity towards him as well, because we can't get away from that. But I think he looks so different, and that's what makes it exciting to me.
He's fun. Yeah. I like him. I like seeing a guy who kind of is not as, he doesn't have to look like a statue. You can suspend your disbelief for a little bit for him. He's a big monster dude, and I got no issues with it. And I love watching him. And I hate the first thing we went to was negativity. I hate it.
But I think he'll be grand. I really do think he'll be grand. Let's just flick over to Raw, and we're going to have a new gimmick, which is Sam's Fact of the Week. So my Fact of the Week is actually Raw related, and Raw is obviously tonight. We are filming this last Monday. So this fact that I have is going to change for the better or worse.
Okay.
This fact is going to change.
Yeah.
It has now been 13 weeks since Raw has finished on a match.
Wow, really?
Yep, 13 weeks. It has had a talking segment. Even if it's ended in a brawl, there has not been a single match as the main event Raw. So tonight is going to make it 14, or they're going to finally break it.
I'm trying to think what even's supposed to happen tonight on Raw that could be an end. I have no idea, but that's an amazing stat.
Thing. So, but it's 13 weeks. It might even be 14 as this comes out. Of
3 months. Main event 3 months of no match. That is amazing. That's an amazing stat. I can't believe it. Why do they keep doing that?
Roman Reigns is your champion, and that's what happens if you have Roman Reigns on the show every single week, which they have bar 2 weeks since Roman has started. Can't
you book him to wrestle a little? Book him to be in a tag team.
I know Roman. We always will. Literally, I am happy to see Roman whenever Roman. He's gone through so much. And the fact that he's still doing it for us, in my eyes, and it is for us, I will just give him nothing but praise. But you could have a 15-minute match, a tag match. You could do something like...
What in the world?
But it doesn't matter. The point is, because Roman Reigns is on the show, Roman Reigns main event. And it has felt like, could you have not put Roman at the beginning of the show at any point in the last month?
Yeah.
That's what it's felt like to me. That's my actual weirdly biggest complaint, because I actually think Raw's been pretty good for the most part, actually, in the last WrestleMania. I've enjoyed all the new stars. They've all been booked relatively well. The only person who's probably could have been booked a bit better in their debut-ishness from the guys in the last, 6 months is probably Ricky Saints. They haven't given him a great platform so far, but I think he's so talented. He'll be fine. He's too talented not to. But so
Ethan Page is my guy on Raw.
Ethan Page is fun. I've liked Ethan Page for a long time.
Yeah.
Like, oh my God, I've liked Ethan Page for what feels like a decade at this point.
I told that story. I met him in Cleveland, and after a show, they always have the after parties, and my brother and I, guys from AIW, we all hung out with Ethan Page that night, and we were at this bar, and instead of I'm not a mark in front of guys, like we just hang out, and we were talking to Ethan Page about he just had a daughter at the time, and we have kids, and we sat with him for like 2 hours. We were just having a drink and talking about our kids. Afterwards, he's like, if we ever come to your town, give me a ring and I'll get you tickets, to a show.
bloke. He really
Well,
does.
so they come to UBS, and I reached out, and there was 4 tickets for me to go to, and I never forgot that, and I feel like he is one of the nicest, most genuine guys in the business, and I feel glad for him. So,
Do you know what? Actually, now you said that, just on that, do you feel like that's actually where we're going a little bit? Actually, the fact that we've got rid of this awful political, dog eat dog world. I know there's an element of that now, but it seems like everyone seems a bit more relaxed and nicer, just from the appearance that we're hearing as much as we can see.
because it doesn't work like that anymore. There's no more like I'm coming for your spot in your territory, because it's all papered and scripted, as so scripted down to the last word, that you know what to expect no matter what. And if you do complain, there's most companies, they don't have the appetite anymore. They'll either sit you or they'll send you on your way, and there's a million other guys behind you. So those days are over.
With all the bullying and all that stuff, because that's just ridiculous. I'll never understand that. But I've really enjoyed the intercontinental scene on Raw. I like 4 great talents. They had a tag match 2 or 3 weeks ago on Raw that was just phenomenal. It was pay-per-view.
Rusev, I'm so happy for him.
I was a bit worried for him for a minute that he was gonna be on the chopping block with everybody else, but I wouldn't get rid of Rusev. He's too good not to. I think Javon Evans is just slowly starting to understand main roster work, because obviously in NXT it was just balls to the wall, over the top. Now it feels like he's playing the moments just that little bit better. I think he's getting better and better every week. Penta's Penta. I mean, Penta's just so easy to sell, isn't he? Let's be honest. He always has been. I watched Penta in a WCPW show, and I'll tell you what. So that was the What Culture Pro Wrestling, which went mental with how much money they spent on people.
What Culture's the one with the What Bar T-shirts?
No, that's OSW Review.
Oh, okay.
What Culture was the one that actually had their own indie. They were the ones who were doing the top 10s first. They were the Cultaholic guys first.
Oh, okay. Okay.
Adam Blompiers and all that lot were in there first. So check out. These are the people on this show. This is generally true. So this is in there you go. Tangent. This is in Coventry. This was. So we're not even in a massive place. They were doing their World Cup, and it was the Mexican leg. But they also had other matches on the night. So I had Rey Mysterio, and he wrestled twice.
What year was this?
Pardon?
What year was this?
2016.
Damn. Okay.
Oh, you'll hear some names in a minute because it's 2016.
Yeah.
So Rey Mysterio, he wrestled twice. Penta, he wrestled twice. Rey Fenix was there. He wrestled. Juventud Guerrera was there. Alberto Del Rio, who had been on one. I can tell you that for a fact. He'd been on one. I watched I watched Joe Hendry win the What Culture title in the main event. He was a big heel at the time, not doing all the stuff he does now. He was a big heel. And also, we had Cody Rhodes versus Drew McIntyre. And it was Drew's last match before he went off back to WWE. I watched Drew's last match on the Independents. And I went, God, we don't have that in the UK anymore.
We don't, dude. I remember that year too because I saw Johnny Gargano and Zack Sabre Jr. versus Flip Gordon and Drew Galloway at the Evolve show.
Good grief. Yeah. The reason I bring it up is because I didn't know who Penta was. All right. If it's not on WWE TV, I probably don't know who these people are. Obviously,
you weren't a Lucha Underground guy?
It didn't happen here.
Right. Okay.
I had to seek. You had to seek. And if I ever have to seek, I'm probably not seeking it. See it that way. Like, if it's presented to me, like, for example, AEW here in this country, Dynamite's not live at any point. Okay. It's on ITV, which is our channel 3. So it's on a very good, reputable channel. The problem is ITV has 4 ITVs. They've got ITV 1, 2, 3, and 4. So it's on like ITV 4, which is usually where they put their sport, to be fair. But they put it on like a Friday rather than a Wednesday. Oh. So if you were watching AEW and you didn't want to, and you were involved in X and, TikTok and all that, you've probably found out everything that happened. So it's really frustrating. So I don't watch AEW much because it's a lot of effort to watch it. If it was live, I could watch it Thursday morning, for example, or Thursday afternoon when I get back from work, that type of thing, which would be really good for me. But sadly, it's not. But the point I was making is I didn't know who Penta was, sort of thing. I didn't know who he was. And he's just so easy to sell to me. And it doesn't matter if he's getting a little bit old. I definitely think it feels like he's moving slower, which is WWE is a good place for him to be then because they move slower anyway. he just is a star, and it just shows you don't need to take the crazy bumps. Just walk kind of weirdly in a cool mask, and I will support you.
Well, that's my question to you then. Where is the disconnect with Ray Fenix as opposed to Penta? Because they're together, they're a sellable, commodity, but separately, Ray, you couldn't sell me on Ray Fenix ever on, like as a single guy.
Ray's sole selling point is his in-ring athleticism. Mm-hmm. So if you don't give him that, there's nothing to buy. And if all Ray Fenix would need to be over with the crowd, this is all he would need, is 4 weeks, 15 minutes every week. That's all he would need. If they gave him somebody good to work with for 15 minutes every single week, doesn't even have to win. 4 weeks on TV every week. Let's say he has a best of 5 with Carmelo Hayes, for example. That's all it would need to get Ray Fenix over, because he isn't all about appearance. Penta doesn't need to do anything in the ring. He's already won you by his cool entrance and his cool walk. Fenix got the cool entrance as well, but that's not who he is. He doesn't give off that aura, that vibe. You can't teach charisma. You can't teach a vibe. You can't teach that. You can try and cultivate it. You can try and craft it, but to be able to just walk out, Obafemi, great example. So you had to just walk out. Obafemi didn't need all the pomp and circumstance. He just needs to walk out and people go, oh, hello, big dude. Oh, okay. Brock Lesnar was the exact same. And then all you do is just give them the booking that suits them. They will get over. That's why Ricky Saints is struggling. Like him just being a cocky heel doesn't work anymore. You can't do that. Like, actually, could you explain to me, because I don't get this, right? You've obviously got the new girls who've turned up on SmackDown, right?
Fatal Influence, yeah.
Fatal Influence. They're clearly great. I know that. Why are they being so booed so heavily? How did the crowd grab that? Because you just feel it. Like sometimes the aura is, you're just like, yuck. Oh, you girls are coming in here to mess up our good stuff, and that's what Ray Phoenix doesn't have that Penta does have. See it this way: if they put Penta and Ray together, which I do think will happen eventually at some point, if Ray Phoenix stays in the company, that is, of course, he could easily be released. That would be a stock raiser for Phoenix, but it would be a stock dropper for Penta. So what would you want? Do you want to raise this up and lower this down? If I was Penta, you would go, sorry, mate, you're going to have to try something. They did something on SmackDown this week with him. He said he's got something big coming, and he spoke to Sammy. So maybe WWE are going to give him another crack at some point. I mean, if it was me, I would just, once you've moved Trick on up the card, because he's already going that way. Trick right now is probably the best thing on SmackDown. Even with a terrible, terrible storyline, he still comes out of it looking great.
Every time. Yep.
Every time. He feels like he's Teflon, bulletproof.
Yep.
Absolute bulletproof. Just megastar. I'm looking at him going, you should be world champion within the next 18 months.
We said it too on the night shift. We did say him and Obafemi will both be champions before the fall by far. We already were right about Trick, so Oba's next.
Oba will, if they do King of the Ring, Oba should win King of the Ring, and Oba should.
Well, he's your next champion. Let's tell Roman, you're done by Survivor Series, and then let's go.
King of the Ring gets SummerSlam, doesn't they? So
right, I'd like to see it. Yeah, at SummerSlam.
I think the main event at WrestleMania, or at least headline match, Obafemi Braun Breaker. I think it's just so easy to set it up. Build Braun as a killer heel. Don't make him have him lose. Don't have him lose pretty much, apart from maybe a big match with a big, screw finish or whatever. But have Oba win the world title at SummerSlam, and then just Oba and Braun just run at each other.
I don't know how you get there. I don't know how you get there without Jacob getting being like waylaid by it.
I think you've just described it. I think Jacob carries on the vicious heelness, and I think he moves back to SmackDown. He hasn't moved to Raw.
He's just there to beat up Roman. Right.
So I think he's doing the Roman feud. Roman comes off of it. They either start a new bloodline thing and Jacob joins.
No more bloodline.
Heel.
No more.
I'm just saying what I think's where they're heading. I think this is a TKO. Please do the bloodline again, please. Because we know that was such a success. And
no more.
Raw's biggest success so far has actually been the main event, because I'm not enjoying Roman Reigns that much at the moment, because I'm not seeing the point. I'm confused. Are you back to Tribal Chief, which was the domination of the show? So therefore, are you heel? But Jacob Fatu's just turned heel on you, which makes less sense. I'm a bit lost on it. We talked about it when we did our predictions on Samsung Wrestling, when we did you guest hosted, and for all we drew, still can't be beat. 480 days.
I tried to get one over on the Asuka Io Sky match. Just ruined it.
Yeah, that was the one. You had me. You got me. And I like that. We said that match had been rushed, and it felt like they did all the story that night in the pay-per-view at Backlash. And we'll just say it now, because obviously this is our month wrong, and Backlash within the month. What a fantastic show Backlash was.
Yes, it was great. I don't like the fact that you gave me 2 matches for free and then charge people $30 to pay for ESPN Unlimited when the first 2 matches were free on ESPN.
I don't know what you're on about. I paid £5 again for all.
Well, so think of this, right? So ESPN, we already pay in this country for ESPN as part of our cable package. You already pay for it. So I don't pay for WWE Unlimited. I mean ESPN Unlimited. I get it as part of owning ESPN.
Okay.
ESPN, because it's already part of most people's cable subscription, comes with YouTube TV. Everybody has ESPN. It's everywhere.
Right, cool.
They give you the first 2 hours of Backlash for 2 matches out of 5 matches were free to people. And then the idiots like me who pay for ESPN when technically you're paying whatever the cost is for it on your cable subscription or the $30, you got 3 matches that you actually could lock out someone else. What's the point at this point, people?
I genuinely don't understand. I asked Kyle, how much do you pay to watch the wrestling you have to watch? And he's something like $100 or something, and I'm paying $8. And I do feel sorry for you guys. You are being shafted left, right,
dude.
and
center. My cable bill, and I don't really. We've worked out streaming services across families, but my cable bill alone, phone, internet, cable, $200 a month.
Wow. You do not want to hear mine then.
I know, but you also have to pay a fee to watch TV, don't you? Don't you need to pay a TV
really
fee?
Small, and it's really small over the year. It's really small. And but you got to remember that fee essentially for the BBC funds them because they have no adverts. They have no commercials on BBC Telly. Literally none. So
wow.
You know, when you watch a sitcom in America, it's 22 minutes long, right?
Yes.
If you put a sitcom on British telly, it has to be 30 minutes because there is no ad break. So almost all of our sitcoms that are on BBC TV have to be 30 minutes long or an hour long. So they have to fill that slot.
And something I respect about you guys is you don't beat a dead horse on a show. Even if it's a big time show, you do 2 seasons, maybe 3 at the max, and then you bail out. And that's the best part about it. We kill our shows till there's, as much as I'm selfish, I love NCIS and all 27 seasons of it. You guys are like, you liked it? It's gone. I'm glad you liked it, but this is all the creativity you're going to get. And that's the end. So,
we are starting to ruin that slightly in the more modern era. But yeah, in the 80s, 90s, early 2000s, we were very much like, if you turn to the person who made the show and they went, I've got no more ideas, they didn't force it. They didn't.
The Office, your original Office was what? 3 seasons? 2 seasons. We turned it into 14 seasons.
We had a program called Faulty Towers, which was huge in this country and had 12 episodes. And it was massive.
Yeah.
We had which you tried to. It's hilarious. You guys tried to do your own version, but you got rid of the main character.
What was it? What was the show? Faulty Towers.
Faulty Towers, and it was.
Was it called something else here?
And so it's John Cleese. He's the main guy.
Mm-hmm.
And he was called Basil Fawlty, and they wanted to get rid of Basil Fawlty in America.
No, I can't even get into Black Mirror. I love 3 episodes in a season, whatever it is. We're good. You give me some creativity, yes or no, it's over. But the fact that we beat these shows to death in this country, even Sherlock, all the Sherlock Holmes. I love Sherlock on BBC.
4 episodes a season at most,
right? And then you wait 10 years before the next season comes out. The only show you guys have never ended is Doctor Who. Otherwise,
you said we did. We brought it back.
Yeah, I'm saying it keeps coming back. It keeps coming back. It's not like gone forever. In this country, if we had Doctor Who, we'd beat it to death until and never end it. So you're okay, we'll give you 2 months off, but then it's coming right back in your face, and you're gonna like it or hate it, and then it's gonna be murdered because we're not selling ads, and that's the end.
the thing that always confused me about, I know we've gone. I told you we were tangent. I told you we're going to tangent.
Yeah. Well, we're coming up to an hour 20, so we'll be wrapping it up sooner than later, people. We promise.
But like, we just show your shows. Like, we don't go, oh, I tell you what, let's make our own version of the Big Bang Theory. We just go, that was quite good. We'll show the Big Bang Theory. You guys go, oh, we really like Red Dwarf. Let's make ours. And we're like, do you guys just not get any British humor at all? And they go, we like the premise, but we need some American gags in there. We need some American jokes.
Yeah.
Otherwise we'll never understand it.
There's my lady going back and forth. This is for the we'll edit it out in post.
No, we don't. Be there forever. Deal with
it. No, I think the ones that
all in Nash.
She's doing a run-in. I think we've ruined so much television in that you guys have put out. Even, you know what show I love? Anything Ricky Gervais, I'm all in on. And that show where he was, I don't remember the name of it, but where his wife passed away and he was going around to. There's no other way to capture the way I felt watching that show than watching that show. We have ruined, so there's so many movies that come out or TV shows, and I'm like, oh, that was and then I watch it and I go, no, we took it from England. Oh God, it's gonna suck. Like after we take it. So, you know,
the Red Dwarf writers. I'm a massive Red Dwarf fan. Big.
Is that like a Firefly type show?
Yes, effectively. Yeah. If you will, but really not. And the Americans love this show. They really do love Red Dwarf. They do Red Dwarf conventions and stuff. And they went, we're going to do Red Dwarf America. And they sent the actual writers there. And they sat in a room with 10 other writers. And they went, you do realize your show is crap. They literally were telling the Americans, your show is crap. This doesn't work. And they're the writers. It's their show. You know, it's their only. And they kept telling them, stop telling us about the script. Just come up with jokes. So literally they went away and wrote a brand new script and sneakily handed it to all the actors. And all the actors were like, this is so much better. Can we do this? And then the Americans went, no, we're not going to do that. And guess what? It never got out of, you know, the pilot. But
you guys take chances too. Your language is a little bit more blunt. The way your humor is a little more blunt. That's why things get neutered when it gets here. Even down to Black Mirror. And I will be honest, the first season of Black Mirror, the pig fucker episode, all those things, amazing, right? You took these chances. The way it was written. If you watch the newer seasons of Black Mirror, you know the ones that the Americans got involved in, and it blows. It's nowhere near as fun as the one with the bees. Remember the one with the bees?
Yeah,
That kind of stuff doesn't come from our country. We don't write anything that has that kind of consequence where they kill all these. No, nobody ever dies in our shows. We never want to kill off our main characters. We go, what if we want to bring them back?
People.
we go even yes, it means something. We don't do that here because we go, what if we want to spin it off? What if we want another show? Like,
well, that was proven in Marvel, though, wasn't it? That was proven in Marvel.
But comics, nobody dies in comics, Sam.
And
nobody.
This is why I was going to bring it back. You'll notice that we didn't try to do a WWE in the UK. We just went, that's the best, that's the biggest. We can have our own independent one, we can have our own small show, but we're not going to be that. Let's just bring that over and stuff like that. And so let's just finish off on the Raws and SmackDown. Anything at the moment that you're really looking forward to that you've been watching from Raw and SmackDown for the what could this lead to for the next month?
It's the intercontinental scene on Raw by far. The talent there is more fun. I enjoy it very much.
Penta at SNME?
No, they love Penta. The right move to me would be yes, but I don't think they're going to do it. That's just my opinion. I don't think they're going to do it yet. I don't think they're ready to give up on what Penta does for them, which is fine. And I think the women's scene on SmackDown with Fatal Influence has changed the entire dynamic of SmackDown's women's scene, and I love them. Yeah,
so it feels so fresh because it was just Jade and Rhea for a while. It felt Charlotte and Alexa seem to be floating.
They're fine. They're not. Look, Charlotte's been around too long. Doesn't need what they. If people, you can give her a belt, but she doesn't need it.
A story. They could do a story though.
Yes.
Like it doesn't. This is my big complaint about Raw and SmackDown right now. Is I'm enjoying all the pairings. I'm enjoying all the people who have been placed with each other.
Yeah.
However, I don't feel they've actually given them a story. It feels like Sami Zayn is the only one actually has an actual narrative. And, you know, good or bad, it's the only one with a narrative. Because even Gunther and Cody Rhodes kind of feels like we're just ticking off the Seth Rollins thing. Gunther now on SmackDown. Does Gunther beat Cody Rhodes next month? Obviously, when we come back in a month's time, we'll have the result. Does Gunther beat Cody?
He should.
I think who knows what the Randy Orton back injury is? Who bloody knows? I think Cody was definitely meant to have dropped the title at Mania. Feels like he was going
The problem with Randy Orton, and it'll always be, is when he's on, I love it. When he's there, it feels different. He's just that kind of talent. He understands. Now, he's injured too often to give you a scene where you can say, this guy's going to give me a whole he's going to give me a whole program, because he's never, he's never going to, he's unfortunately at the point in his career where he's not healthy enough to give you a full program. However,
the fact that he had a bad injury as well. I think people forget that when you've had a bad injury, particularly later,
he's almost my age. I mean, like it's time. Gunther, on the other hand, is one of the most durable wrestlers they have. If you put a belt on him, you have months to write a program with him. Cody can chase. Cody doesn't need.
Cody needs to be chasing.
He needs to chase. He doesn't need to be threatened. He needs to chase.
I think Cody needs to be away from the main event anyway. Not because I'm sick of Cody, but I think giving Cody some fresh matchups.
Can he get a match like Punk and Drew when they were when they weren't fighting for a title? Can we get something like that for him?
I think Cody would be really good in the mid card, getting it going against people who aren't main eventers, so you wouldn't have them go for the WWE title, say. I think Cody would work really well there. Cody could win all these feuds.
How about a Cody and Punk feud?
I predicted that for WrestleMania 43. I literally have in our me and Sam on Sam's on Wrestling. Go check us out on YouTube and on TikTok. We do a Christmas week every single year. We do an episode that comes out on Christmas Eve all the way to New Year's Day. There's an episode every single day, and one of our episodes is predicting WrestleMania 43 too early. We do one the day after WrestleMania.
Okay.
We do one during the Christmas week. And I'm if it's not Cody versus Punk at WrestleMania, I will be blown away if it's not.
I think I would be happy if Cody drops the belt, at Saturday's main event, drops the belt. We just bitched at each other about the words and everything we use. If Cody loses at Saturday's main event, Gunther wins, and then Cody does the job, and Gunther wins, and then Gunther starts up whatever, and Cody can come. You can even put Cody on Raw and have him go against Punk, or put Punk on SmackDown and have them start some sort of, we both were champions, it's time to see who's the best, and let's rock and roll. And you could get me every month in the next 2 months to get excited for SummerSlam and have them wrestle at SummerSlam. And you have Oba Gunther, or Oba Roman, Gunther and Trick, or Gunther and someone else. And you spread this out. Oh, Brock and Gunther, right? Because Brock's supposed to lose. Isn't he supposed to come back for his last match in Minnesota? Which I'd be fine with too.
Yeah.
I got it. So I'm booking it. So, but I think on SmackDown in general, you need a few more compelling stories to sell it. But I love the women's division. And I honestly
should start main eventing right now. They're the most interesting thing. I think
the same on NXT. It's the same on NXT. The women's division is the hottest thing they have booked in years, all across all brands. Between Io Sky and Asuka, which I loved, you have Rhea, you have Liv, you have Raquel and Roxanne, which is really, really fun. That whole to do. You have on the other side, you have Nia and Lash and then on NXT, that Kendall Gray, who's going to be a world champion. Like, there is so much going on, and they have booked it so well that you also scratch your head and go,
story, that actual platform, an actual story that feels like the biggest story in the company. I think they've only ever given that to Becky Lynch and Ronda Rousey and Charlotte Flair. That's the only time I ever felt
Rhea and Becky, Rhea and Bianca Belair was supposed to be that way, and we'll never get it at this point. But I have to say, when I watch the women's booking, I want to scratch my head and go, why aren't you booking the men as well as you book the women in certain spots? It just makes no sense. What happened? It used to be the other way.
It
Now
did.
completely reversed. But yeah, so otherwise, I'm still watching. I still am doing my thing for SmackDown and Raw. I can't wait for SummerSlam. Saturday's main event's going to be great because I like free wrestling on Saturday nights, and that's what I think as far as SmackDown.
Matches do you feel bit throwaway-ish?
Which one?
Saturday night's main event. It feels like they're doing Clash light. Like these didn't quite make the Clash show,
and that's okay. That's okay.
Fine.
That, you know what, Clash of Champions on WCW was always, you had one giant match you were going up against, but other ones were like Disco Inferno versus Alex Wright, and there's nothing wrong with Disco Inferno versus Alex Wright. Das Wunderkind was great.
Before we wrap it up, I always think that me and you, we're just such old heads. We're just old school heads, and I always thought, what would be a nice way to round out our podcast? And I think nostalgia is the way I think me and you should round out our podcast.
Okay.
And I think we'll switch it up every single time. We've got two things that I think we'll do. I think one, if we have more time, we'll do pick a year, and we'll chat about something that happened in that year.
Okay.
But I think for this one, we'll do a little short one, and we'll do the forgotten star. We'll talk about an old school star. I'll do one this time. You bring a forgotten star you want to chat about. And I'm going to do one that's kind of forgotten, but a bit more current for fun. And just NXT just for you. A forgotten star of the mid-2010s sort of region. Mason Ryan. I want to talk a little bit. I want to bring on someone from Britain.
He's Welsh, right? He was Welsh.
For years. And then suddenly this bloke turns up in NXT, has some music that people recognize, and they moan because it's Mason Ryan.
Right. I couldn't believe that, by the way, but yes. Yeah.
And I was just there going, no, what? Even Mason Ryan hasn't mentioned Mason Ryan before.
Fautista.
Did you know he was a gladiator in gladiators in this country? And we brought it back for the third or fourth time. We brought back Gladiator. It's back again. It's
the new one on Prime is awesome with Wardlow and Eric Bugenhagen and Camille. It's awesome. It's awesome. The new season was great. The finale was horrible, but the new season was great.
I think it's like we've got a different one. We've got a
different one. They have it on Prime too. Gladiators UK. I've seen a bunch of those. But Nick Aldis was a gladiator too, right?
He was the one I think of. I think of Nick Aldis as first because he was actually the heel in our one. This is when we had it over water for some reason.
I remember when you guys had that, and then he was brought into TNA, and they were like, Magnus is such a big deal, and I was like, I got to see this show. So I remember going back and seeing how he was on American Gladiators. But Mason Ryan, who looked just like Batista, and was part of that Nexus. What, the new wave, the second class,
Nexus or Nexus 2.0, whatever it was.
Horrible. But he just was not a guy. He was all looks. He was a Tom, whatever his name was, the guy who wrestled against Bret Hart, that match that no one ever saw. He just wasn't in the ring compelling enough and couldn't speak.
A Vince McMahon guy, this big dude, muscly dude, put him
blown up. Yeah.
And one of the things I do on TikTok is I do a TikTok live, does relatively well actually. It's probably the only good thing I do that's pretty good. And it's a challenge me at WWE trivia.
Okay.
And I think the number one thing I get asked genuinely is name the members of the Nexus.
Which Nexus? All of them?
I get told to name the original, new, all. I get moaned at when I mention Cena, for example, because he was in the Nexus.
Oh my God! I'm trying to think. That night, you had all those dudes, and are we thinking about the original ones who beat everybody up, or are we thinking about the ones that the Husky Harris era, the second class?
I have to name both. So when people go name the new Nexus, I have to sit there and go. I say Punk, Otunga, Husky Harris, Michael McGillicuddy, and then Mason Ryan.
Michael Carver. Remember Michael
He was
Carver?
in the original.
Yeah,
because he was one of the first people fired.
Gabriel, that dude, the Darewolf, Skip Sheffield. Oh my God, Fred Rosser, who was Darren Young,
or John Cena's.
He really did look just like John Cena. It's crazy,
wasn't it? It's insane how spitting image they were.
Boy, did that gimmick work until they debuted?
About 4 weeks. 4 weeks that gimmick.
No, the fact that they fired Bryan Danielson over it was still the dumbest thing I think I've ever in my life laid eyes on in my life.
They had to retcon their own firing because they knew it sounded stupid, and they knew it was stupid. I'd like to sit down and find out how true that actually was. Like, did they really actually fire him? I think Daniel has said
they did. He was.
But then at the same time, he was brought back so quickly. I mean, it was so fast. They only had one pay-per-view before their pay-per-view match.
Yes.
They got involved in I think it was a fatal four-way, I think, for the world title.
Don't you ever get like that pit in your stomach? Like, I get so frustrated where I'm like, it was right there. Like, we had it. Like, why did you do that?
You could have made literally 2 main eventers, 3 maybe good mid-carders and a tag team. Like, you literally were ready to go. And they fixed their problem because they did it with the Shield. They realized.
But the Shield wasn't a Nexus. The Shield, those guys were already made.
Look how it started. It was a Nexus. It was a Nexus. It was just very small and probably, let's be honest, 3 much more talented people.
That's the thing. They were ready-made talent. And my other problem, but like I always have that pit in my stomach with wrestling, is there are certain gimmicks that I'm like, you're right there. Just push the button. Just step on do it. You're right there. Open the door. And they just won't do it. And you're just like, please, God, it'll work. I'm telling you, it'll work. And
feels like that way in a Triple H WWE as well.
It feels like that across all wrestling. I'm not lying. Like, as much as and then there are these things where you're like, do it. And even though in your heart of hearts, you know, it's not going to work. Like AEW does that. Even in your heart of hearts, look, I love Alec Price and Jordan Oliver on the indies. Mm-hmm. I know for a fact it was not going to work on TV yet. They were not ready. No. Now they're on Ring of Honor and they're gone and nobody cares. And I'm sad for them because they are hell of a talent and they were indie talent stars that were making money. I don't know what's going to happen, but there are certain things where you're like, please, I know this is going to work. The Nexus, if you just had them win that first match, they were off to the races. What happened? Kills me to this day.
When you hear all the stories of Jericho and Edge talking about it in particular, and they're just so confused, and you're like, if you've got 2 people with 2 of the best heads for the business who are current stars at the time, 2 main event level stars, sat there going, why are we doing this? Like, you can't even give me an explanation apart from send the crowd home happy, which I just hate as a concept. I think that's an Americanism over Britain, by the way.
Of course, dude. I even like the Spirit Squad.
Yeah,
I love them. They had so much potential. What did we do that for? Why did we get rid of them and not have them be evil cheerleaders and beat the crap out of everybody? Like,
it was like, I don't know why you guys hate cheerleaders for some reason. I don't know why. You know,
I don't hate them. You want to
cheerleaders?
Dude, one of my favorite tag teams that I felt that way with was Cade and Murdoch. I was like, why did we give up? Why did we give up on the smooth talking Southern gentleman and his redneck tobacco spitting friend who would come and beat you up and then win the belts? Why did we stop those vignettes? Why'd that ever end? It didn't have to end. It was great. That was like out of a movie, like the partners like that.
Yeah. It seems like they put stock into these things and then give up on them. It's almost like either they didn't get the reaction they wanted to, or they've ran out of ideas. It feels like in WWE, and this has been the same for about, 50 years. It feels like they come up with an idea, and instead of sitting down and go, right, okay, this is what we're going to do the first one, the second one, the third one, the fourth one, the fifth one. They go, put it on. Have we got the next idea yet? No, we've already come up with the bones of it. You're like, oh, but we've already put it on TV. Oh, stop doing the vignettes. Stop doing it. Put them in a match on SmackDown. And that's what it feels like, rather than the thing that gets them over. Do you remember when Primetime Players had those weird, cool little vignettes where they were just chatting and joking? That got them over.
There's tons of stuff that we could probably spend a day, which we will. I think we'll do a few hours on gimmicks that we loved and why they didn't, what happened, because we don't need to get into the real stuff and just in our heads. What do we think happened and why did it go that way?
All right, I think we need to do that next time. We'll do a Raw SmackDown and recap and everything, but our next thing will be about what happened.
Yes, I think we need to do that. Where did they go? Because I have so many.
We'll bring a few what happens then, and we'll do a giant what happens. And if you've got any what happens what happened, put them in the comments and we'll chat about them if you guys. So we're going to, I think, leave it there. An hour and 40. Of course, it was going to be an hour and 40. Of course, it is going to be.
It's okay with me. If you people listen, Sam and I will go for you as long as you like. As Mandrake said in that Twilight Zone movie, we're always on, and we can go as long as you like. So
this is the Transatlantic Pop, a brand new wrestling podcast. Come and join us. We will go roughly once a month, unless there's a big news coverage or a big story thing that we want to talk about, or if me and Jay just go, "Hey, you ready? You want to do anything?"
Yeah. I think that works.
Then we'll pop on. So first of all, go and give us a subscribe to the Main Event Wrestling Network. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to everything that we do here. We are not the only thing here. This is your first look at the Main Event Wrestling Network. We have so many live things that come out. We've got so many blogs. We are just a giant network of incredible wrestling content creating talent. Isn't that right, Jay Gold?
That's right. And check us all out. We have so many shows during the week. Listen to the Indie Wrestling Guide, listen to NXT Night Shift, go to the Sam's on Wrestling, go to OTM on the Mark Wrestling Podcast, go to Vicious Rants, go to Tino's Time, go to the Blog World Order. Check us all out. And if you've seen us today, it means you've watched us also on our 24-hour stream. We hope you enjoyed that as well. And we'll see you guys once a month, twice a month, whenever we feel like chatting it up. And I love the UK. I can't wait. I'm going to try to get some more information, though, like more facts on the UK so that I can relate. And I'm hoping as I talk today, if you see us next week, Spurs have got out of relegation and they will be in the Premier League next year.
Could have already happened. Chelsea versus Spurs happened
tomorrow night? It's tomorrow. Yes, it would be 5 days prior. So let's keep our fingers crossed, people. Come on, you Spurs.
I'm a Chelsea fan, so kind of hoping they haven't.
Help us out. All right.
Thank you very much for joining us, guys. Don't forget to come and see us next month. Go check her on out. Go follow me specifically at Sam's on Wrestling's on a different YouTube channel. We have videos that come out every Tuesday, every Thursday, and every Sunday at 6 p.m. UK time, which would be 1 o'clock Eastern time in America, and then all your other times because you have too many times. So much so that I've generally missed recordings. Thank you very much, guys. We will see you again next time on the Transatlantic Pop Wrestling Podcast. Thank you very much.
See you.
Bye.
Bye-bye.